It's one of those nights where it just helps to really build the confidence of a young player who's at the start of what could be a really exciting journey.
Yeah, I think Owen hit the nail on the head earlier. He plays with no fear. Goes out there. All he wants to do is impress. He's desperate to go out there and put his name in the lights. He's desperate to come off the pitch and get a pat on the back, and will do anything to do that. And there's an honesty to his game.
Yeah.
That raw honesty that you love when you see a young player come in a team.
What do you mean by that? That
willingness to run for balls that others would consider maybe dead balls. He tries things without the fear of or understanding that you could get criticised for something. And what he's about is he wants to please everybody. He's a pleaser. And you get that with young players. We saw it with Danny Welbeck and Tom Cleverley. These young players that come into the team when you're a player, and they will do anything you say at that moment because they're just desperate to be a part of it. And he feels like, to me, look, he's in that zone at the moment, and it's great to see.
What's it like for Marcus Rashford when he has another performance like we saw tonight, comes off and sees Elanga come on and score? What's the situation here?
Well, look, Marcus burst onto the scene just like Elanga, even more explosive. And he played with that urgency and no fear, and he blew everybody away. And obviously Elanga's doing that now. I think when you've been in there and then, you've had a blip and you're struggling, then you get a bit more careful, and I think Elanga's playing with absolutely no fear. And I think that's, remember Wazza when he first burst onto the scene, he was just like a tornado. He was unplayable. Then I think you start to learn and understand the circumstance. I think Rio makes a great point. Elanga's just playing with no fear. And I think Marcus is, rather than just instinctively reacting and running in behind and making things happen, I think he's thinking the game a little bit more than he did initially. But to be fair, everybody struggled offensively for United. They didn't really create any, no shots on target in the first half, no touches in the opposition's box. So everybody offensively had a role in the way that game panned out in the first half.
What do you think?
I think he just looks too anxious to me. He looks like he's trying almost too hard. Every time the ball comes to him, he feels like he's got to produce something magical. And that's probably the worst thing you could do. I always remember when you're going through a tough time, the manager always said, just keep it simple. Next 4 or 5 passes, keep it simple, just work your way back into the game. He doesn't seem to be able to do that. He's always thinking he's got to produce something. We saw him get the ball from about 35 yards out, and everyone's saying, no, don't shoot, because he's just trying to look for a touch, and he smacks it miles over the bar. He's just got to calm himself down, working himself into games, and his form eventually will come back.
And also, sometimes it's like you think, if it's not working for me with the ball, actually, without the ball, I'm going to make an impact in this game, and I'm going to work people and get against people and make it difficult for my opponent at times. And sometimes you could be the most experienced player. Sometimes you just need telling that. I was the same as a player. Sometimes you just need someone to just say something to you. Actually, I forgot about that. Right, I'll go and do that. I'll get into that now. And then all of a sudden, the natural things, which he's great at, which is natural to him, which is passing, which is shooting, which is creating, will just come back in because the confidence builds from another facet of his game.
There must be people there giving him home truths about these performances.
That has to be the case. We don't know that. We're not at Carrington every day, but I would assume that there'll be somebody getting to him, getting clips, showing him some of the frailties within his game at the moment and saying, this isn't right, this isn't you, Marcus. What got you here? When you burst onto the scene, what did we love about you? What did you enjoy? What did you look and see, remind yourself? And then
I don't think he needs video clips, though. He needs somebody on the pitch to tell him.
I think you need to
start. Not difficult.
Start somewhere and then bring it out.
To say what, though?
You work hard. When we've not got the ball, you sprint back, you get back into your position. It's that simple. I don't think he didn't work hard tonight. I think it was just the anxiety in him that he thought he needed to produce something. But if he has players next to him, and we look at these players, don't we? We've said for a long time there's a lack of leadership in that team. Maguire as a captain doesn't really do it. These young players especially, they need telling all the time until they're blue in the face, until they actually start doing it.
Did you, when you was playing, because obviously you guys played in the middle of the park, did you need talking to at times to get you through games at times?
Of course you do. Of course you do. And I had a great experience around me. Coming into the team with, not Brian Robson, sorry, I just finished, but you had Steve Bruce behind me, Gary Pallister behind me, Peter Schmeichel, Roy Keane. They're onto you until you do it every time without being told. Now, these players do this. Remember us playing with Nani as a right winger? The amount of time you just stay out there and you just tell him, you scream at him, and eventually it was brilliant defensively.